Hi, today we're going to look at Minuet number 3 from Suzuki Book 1. We're actually going to look at the first passage, or first half of this passage, which would be measures 1 through 16. Before we get started, there are a few things we need to go over. The first thing is something called a grace note. If you notice at the end of measure 8, we have what's called a grace note. It's that little Q note, or a note that's written in a smaller font than what the main note is. And what you do is you just play a little flicker. It's like just a brief second, and then you go on to the next part of it, and you do it all in one bow. So you would just do it like this. Okay, and that's just basically the grace note. Another thing that we need to know is that in several of the measures, such as measure 1, we have something called a slur. And the slur in this case is going to be on the second beat. We want to make sure that when we play a slur, we're playing the notes in the same bowing. So you're playing like 2 or more notes in one bowing. So it would be something similar to this. So watch this. Every other note was played as a slur. Okay, so the first 2 beats were played as a slur, then the next 2, and then the next 2 were played as slurring together. Then another thing we need to look at is something called a detache or portato. A portato is basically notes that are written like slurs, but then they have something else underneath them that have like little 2 dots. So they look like they're staccatos, and at the same time they look like they're slurring, so we put them together, okay? So it's a slurred staccato, and you would just do it like this. Just like that. Our key signature here, we have 1 sharp, that's F sharp. Okay, so we are playing the key of G. That means when we are on the A, we want to play a low second, which is a C natural. And then on the D string, we want to play a high second, which is our F sharp. Another thing we need to know is that we have, we're playing in 3/4 time. So that means 3 beats per measure, and the quarter note gets 1 beat. I'm going to play the first 8 measures so you can kind of hear how that sounds. And then I'll let you know when I'm playing the second measure, second 8. Okay, that was the first 8. Now here's the second 8. Okay, so now then what I'm going to do is play measures 1 through 16 all together. Okay, so the way you use this video right here is you're going to go back to the first section right there, practice that first section, and then once you're comfortable with it, go ahead and practice the second section. Just make sure to note that there's a little bit of difference between the 2 passages. Basically, measures 7 and 8 is a little bit different from measures 15 and 16. Also, when you're done, play all of them together. Remember that you are actually supposed to do a repeat on these measures right here. The reason why is because we have a repeat sign, and that tells us we're going to go back to the front and then continue all the way to the end of the song and repeat it. Okay? This concludes the video on the first section of Minuet number 3.